Everybody, it's Last Robot Kai here. This is Nioh. I'm joined by Cool Guy, and we're on the trail of Tome's master.
He's gonna be back from his travels soon.
Oh, and we're going to a level type that we have not been to before. We're going to a bathhouse. This is the hot springs episode that I warned everyone about.
I mean, but we're going to the bathhouse to see an old man, so it's already subverting a couple of the hot springs episodes tropes that I hate. So
well, it's a hot spring. It's a hot spring where apparently yokai like to hang out.
Maybe they'll actually be chilled out for once because, you know, they're demons in heaven. They've made it. It's happened.
Yeah. And I got some moves for the curry.
That is that was some flips and shit going on right there. I was honestly a little speechless.
In full armor.
It's fine. I'm sure it's fine.
Not the silliest attack that we'll be getting in this game,
dear God,
by any stretch of the margins. So the bathhouse is arrayed as a sort of a, I guess you could call it 3 stories. It's got the middle one, it's got the upper one, and then down below is where we want to get to. So we have to go up before we can go down. The only way to get down is by descending from a higher place down either an elevator or across the beams in the ceiling.
Ninja, you are ruining the mood here, alright? I'm gonna need you to stop.
In the bathhouse. That's what that move looks like when it hits everything.
Dear God, that was getting beat from about 5 different angles.
Too many ninjas already.
Yeah, like they seem to be chilling out before we got here. I'm starting to think it's you, man. Starting to think
look, I'm just here to pick up an old dude, okay? Like just calm down. Tome's got me on a fucking mission, and these guys are just like.
I'm just here to pick up an old dude, and other things taken out of context.
God, no wonder they're so mad. Ow! Please stop! I'm just trying to throw dogs at people. There we go. Okay.
Dogs solved that problem.
Yeah, when in doubt. Like, I'm bringing those two for a very good reason. It's just they're pretty much the most powerful living weapon pair that you can get. And another nice thing about this stage is simply that, you know, every single spot is a hot spring, so you can pretty much just sit in all of them.
Dude,
and use all of them.
This is the best level. Like just hot springs everywhere.
Shame about the yokai.
Eh.
Won't be the only time we see this level too. There'll be I think at least one other variation of this level where we have to do something.
Are we going back for more of Tome's relatives? Because honestly, I would fucking love it. We just have to keep coming back to this place because Tome's relatives are just like, yeah, I'm here and I'm just sort of chilling, and now there's all these yokai, and could you help me out? Just everybody.
The next time we go here, we will have to get one of the little stuff to boost the blacksmith shop. It's another one of those side missions that has one hidden in it.
Yep.
If I'm recalling correctly. So kind of. It'll have one of those Markatamas.
Fantastic. Just everything about Tome's family and Tome's profession. Everything about that is just wrapped up in a heavenly, classy hot springs bathhouse. I can think of many worse things to be associated with in your life.
Yeah, it's great. I love it.
I don't care that there's a whole bunch of weird demons and stuff in there. Like it's just it stands on its own.
Yeah, I'm always a little wary when I do this level because I've had more crashes playing this level than I've had anywhere else in the game.
Huh.
Like, and thankfully it hasn't happened playing it yet for a little bit, but
and now we jinxed it.
Well, at least not for this particular video. It's not going to crash. Also, but there's like we only have to come back here once. Maybe it won't crash then. Maybe, hopefully, possibly.
Honestly, like we're talking about jinxing it. Like, considering your luck, it won't jinx it for you. It'll either jinx it for me when I come back and play through this game, which I absolutely adore watching it too much to just leave it alone, or it'll jinx it for the first one of our viewers who goes through and plays this game. Like, you don't You never just like eliminate bad luck. You have a tendency to just like pass it on to the next person.
Just get smothered. I smothered myself in oil and fly along. Yeah, friendly was bad, so I didn't do it.
Oh, okay. Like
yeah,
honestly,
the nearby dead person died from friendliness.
Okay, I was too busy talking, so I didn't realize the friendly thing.
Yeah. Okay, I've opened that up. Now I'm gonna go over and reset it. Just loads and loads of hot springing. It's fine. So we've essentially cleared off the entire floor here now. So the only thing we've got to do now is journey upwards, and upwards is no fun. I say that only insofar as upwards is where there's lots of trapdoors and stuff. This level still has ninja trapdoors because I don't know, ninjas built this hot spring, and that usually ends really poorly for me. And this one just look, ninjas. Why are you in here, ninjas? Why are you in a hot spring, ninjas? Why have you made false floors in the hot spring, ninjas? Why is there
This
an
is
ODP?
not Ninja House. We went through Ninja House. You guys did a great
Ninja
job
Boss
on Ninja
House.
Ninja House.
I am completely lost in this picture. I'm like, oh god, camera, please.
Honestly, I mean, you held on longer than I would have in that situation.
You'd have living weaponed at that point.
Yeah, honestly, probably. I certainly wouldn't have found that Kodama after being that disoriented. It's just been like, there's a certain level where my brain is like, you know, I could probably figure this place out, but I have exceeded my perceptive energies for now, and that would have been my limit. X is on the floor. I saw that.
Yep, that means that that particular floor won't drop down, but that doesn't mean, you know, another iteration of this floor won't have them do that, because meanness. Just stop. Thank you.
Frickin' Onibi, man.
Forgot. A headshot is not a headshot when it comes to the people.
Not with those guys.
It's giant dwellers. I don't know. Maybe the hot springs makes them all big and tough. Or maybe only the biggest ones get to go into the hot springs. I don't know.
They had to beat up the other dwellers for the privilege of dying in the hot springs.
Could be. Could be like orcs. Only the biggest undead miners get to get to ride in the hot springs. This is the room where it most often crashes. I think the camera just gets like stuck in the walls, freaks out, and fucks up. I genuinely don't understand it, but you know, whatever. So this is one Yoki hasn't actually noticed me yet.
Boy, that was I was playing with fire right there, buddy.
It's okay. Playing with fire is basically what I'm here to do. You know, the fire under the hot springs keeps them warm.
I got it. I'm just I'm sitting here expecting your hubris to bite you in the butt, and I know deep down that it won't, but I still hope.
Kappa.
Kappa.
Come here.
Okay, buddy.
Back here. Give me your treasures. Give me your bum treasures. The treasures you have taken from other people's bums.
Or at the absolute least, you know, just go away so you can't take my treasures out of my bum.
Yeah, basically. So it said you have to write your name on a cucumber when you give it to a kappa in order to get it to, like, not want to steal your bum soul or whatever. I don't know.
I mean, I'm
Fucking
certainly not going to eat
kappa.
cucumbers, so I mean, putting my name on it seems like a more productive use than what I would otherwise do with it, which is throw it away. Like, seriously, normally I'm a big fan of crunchy vegetables like that, but man, there's just no flavor to cucumbers. I just don't like them.
Oh, I like them because they add a nice moistness to salads. I like it. It's sort of like a nice water moist too. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Possibly my.
But you're definitely right that they have no flavor.
Yeah, possibly my tastes have been shaped by the fact that when I was growing up, like the only salads I ever had had iceberg lettuce on them, which has a relatively similar dubious value to. That is just cruel. Putting an umibozu in a hot spring, that is just cruel. There are certain things that should not be, and umibozu in the delightful healing water of a hot spring is definitely one of them.
I'm gonna just assume someone stayed too long in there and drowned.
Ugh.
That's why there's one in there, and another guy drowned waiting his turn. I guess, I don't know. Like, you know, even though he wasn't in there, he still drowned somehow, and that's why he was on the ceiling, angry about it.
Just sitting there watching, jealously hoping that he's going to get his turn in the hot spring at some point.
I don't understand hot spring logic. It's cool.
I mean, that's part of the beauty of hot springs. It's so comfortable and so therapeutic that logic need not exist.
Yeah, look, even he wants to run in.
Yeah, like, I mean, I'm telling you, this is a real thing. The magic of the hot springs just goes across the border of life and death. Human and Oni. It's fine. Also, that was definitely the best use of living weapon we've had in like about 4 or 5 episodes.
I had so much just annoyed about it. And yes, the actual thing that we've got to seek out. We could, like I said, we could just go down to the bottom. That's where the door is to get where we need to go. But it's locked, and we need 3 tiles.
Figures.
And I don't know, like, I don't know what the phonetics spell out when you get all 3. If that means, like, if it spells out hot tub or open door or whatever. I don't know. That's a bit beyond my language.
We'll have to see the other tiles. Maybe I'll recognize something, but I doubt it. Like, I am not promising anything from that perspective. Yup, not okay. I saw those rafters when we started. And I knew that there was probably going to be some stuff on that, since there was a dweller walking all over it, and I was just like, please, let's not do this. This is why Blight Town was so stressful for me.
The walkways are pretty good, and you can clear them beforehand, so it's not as bad as it would seem. Like the major thing is we've got to access a spot, which can be a little bit tricky to see due to the optical illusion nature of it. But there's a hole in the wall here. We needed to be able to get that Kodama.
Okay,
and
sure.
I believe in the other iteration of this level, this will be where the Magatama will be in this room as well. So we still have to come back here when we still have to do some walking
sure.
on high.
More of that bull crap. I still love that animation to unbar the door. Just like, screw this bar!
It's just what we did that too, because it's like, oh, I didn't get that. Okay, good. Boy, that would have been embarrassing if I hadn't managed to sweep that up on the way.
Rho and E. Yeah, that's not ringing any bells so far.
Yeah, we have to descend on the rafters one more time as well, because the last tile is on the rafters.
Do you remember what its syllable is?
No.
Okay. I was just curious, really. I'm sure I'll see it in good time.
Yeah, we'll see it.
Jolly Powa. That is quite a name. I apologize for shouting out your doxing, Jolly Powa, but you have a great name. So top marks.
You'll never know.
You'll never know, because you probably don't watch our channel or any YouTube for that matter.
And that's why you got doxed. Pointing finger.
All right. What is this one? We got Ha. Roi Ha.
Ha-I-To, wasn't it?
The first one was Ro, and then E, and then Ha. And nothing comes immediately to mind as a word that uses those 3 syllables. But as I said when we started this entire thing, yeah, I ostensibly have a 5th grade or a 1st grade level understanding of Japanese, but that also means that my vocabulary sucks. Kind of got robbed out of that one.
Yeah, well, you know, I've been pretty lucky in that regard. And there's the poison attack they do.
Gross.
Actual poison breath. Fancy. I don't know what's more disconcerting, the little ones or the big ones.
The big ones, I think, simply because of the all fours emotions that they have. Something that big moving that clumsily and yet that quickly on such an uncanny valley sort of motion modality. It's just the entire thing is not quite right.
All right, well, it's time for me to get fucked. just switch up my gear. Because this fight that we go into always screws me up. And it's going to screw me up here too, a few times. Because you're fighting probably the worst, as you would put it, constellation of enemies you could put together.
It's like Horoi. Yeah, Horoi is the name it. Oh, Haroi. My mistake.
Iroha.
Well, that was. Oh yeah, that was reading it left to right. I was reading it right. That was reading it right to left. Not. I was reading it left to right like a dirty foreigner. My mistake. I still don't know what it says, by the way.
Well, all I can say is
Tengu in a bolt.
Don't
Google it. Fuck!
Don't Google Iroha unless you want to learn something about weird Japanese sex toys.
Gross. I'm leaving that where it lies. A little bit like you're getting left where you lie between that Tengu and the bolt.
But Wikipedia has a better one, and apparently Iroha is a Japanese pole.
Ah, okay. Not cultured enough to get that one easily. Hello, ninja.
No. But it basically, the first line of it is Iroha Nihoheto? Or apparently like the pronunciation is like Iroha Nihoheto or whatever, but whatever, it's even the blossoming flowers. So I'm assuming Iroha means like blossoming flowers or something. I don't know. So that's kind of it.
See the kanji.
Yeah, I don't know. That's just me. That's just me doing the Googles.
I mean, you're now fighting your way back to the boss. So if we're gonna do the Googles now,
the English translation for it, thanks to Wikipedia here, says, although its scent still lingers on, the form of a flower has scattered away. For whom will the glory of this world remain unchanged? Arriving today at the yonder side of the deep mountains of evanescent existence, we shall never allow ourselves to drift away, intoxicated in the world of shallow dreams.
That is incredibly appropriate on a number of levels, really. Between the hot spring setting and the old man we are ostensibly here to find, who, you know, I mean, there's a million frickin' enemies around here. The dude is probably dead. And it's Tome's grandfather and everything like that. So, like, I'm seeing multiple ways this poem works.
Yeah, unfortunately, this fight's not going to go any better than the last one.
I mean, it's a rough one, so I'm not even going to clown on you for it. Summoner's Candle.
Yeah, but you know, like, yeah, apparently that is a apparently that is a thing. There's obviously a lot of other sort of names for it as well, but most of them are in fact the Iroha by Tenga, who make Japanese sex toys. And it's just like, oh no, oh my shit, oh god, no, fuck, oh, everything fucking hurts. Look how long it took me to eat. I'm there just like very slowly pouring the elixir into my mouth. It's just like, nope, we ain't getting through this.
The bolt is basically sashaying in victory before she finishes you off.
This is where most of my hatred for bolts comes from, to be perfectly honest.
I can see why. Like, I can see why. That was a bastard bolt right there. Speaking of bastards,
just go away. Haven't I suffered enough? Haven't I suffered enough from all of this game that you're just gonna keep dropping big ass dwellers on me?
The Oni-B. Like the answer to have I suffered enough is always no when there's an Oni-B around.
It's just gonna bounce it to be like 10 times before we get anywhere. Dear.
What a colossal douche. At least at least the elevator will be here. Because I was gonna say that's a pretty legit shortcut there.
Step off, step back on.
Step
there we go.
There we go.
I'm like, oh shit, I didn't kill that guy. Hold on, let me take care of this guy. I do not.
Why do you need to?
Because he'll stand up there throwing bombs at me when I try and go through.
Okay, that's a fair reason. Also, having him tumble down like that, you know, was worth
because
the price
walking
of
in here,
admission.
I aggro the dweller, and there's no guarantee that dweller won't follow me in. I'd rather not risk it and have to walk all the way back again.
This is, that was very much my ethos when I played MMORPGs often too. Everybody was just like, all right, now hug this wall and jump this gap and, you know, do a backflip so we don't have to fight this this one group, and I'm just like, could we just murder these people? It'll take like 45 seconds versus us like
require
10 minutes of recovery if one person screws this up.
Oh yeah, the very first dungeon I ever did in Final Fantasy XIV, everybody else in the group did weird wall climbing to try and get around something. It was like, was it necessary, guys? Okay, that's it. It's time to unleash the power level.
Bolt needs to go down. The Tengu you can handle. The Bolt really needs to die. Worth it! Oof.
That's fine.
Yeah,
at this point, it's just fighting a Tenju, so
yeah,
and he's
that you can handle. You know, the skull splitter strike you took aside. That was his one shot, and he blew it.
Or at least he didn't seem to have as much health. I think on account of you know there being two of them, and I think the game understood trying to fight two super boosted ones is bullshit. So hey, people who know their video games, see if you can recognize who this gentleman looks like.
Wait a goddamn minute. Wait a goddamn minute.
So, if you happen to know your Ninja Gaiden, especially the more recent iterations of it, it's like
I was gonna say
it's
stifle.
like, cool. Why?
Stifle a laugh would be very appropriate right now.
Trying to wake him up. Clapping.
Yeah, wake up your ancestors here.
This is the Sword Master Muramasa, or rather the Sword Forging Master Muramasa.
Well, he's a much tougher old man than I had given him credit for, you know, being alive back here.
Just sleeping.
Well, good. Nobody's messing with Tome. I don't have to break a skull.
Yep. In fact, we finally brought her long-awaited grandfather back.
Good.
And he doesn't bring anything new to the table of what we could do for what like Tome could already do for us. All the features and all the functions of the blacksmith are available from the get-go. What he does instead is you can get favors from him now as well, and that can reduce the cost of things like soul matching and things like that.
So drop by the smithy later, okay? What it properly gave us was Tome being happy, and that is worth it. That is bloody well worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. We're just gonna go in and take a look, and yeah, as you can see, we've got a
sort of chilling out back there.
Yeah. And he makes the point. You can tell about what you know, how good a person fights by what the gear they're wearing, and these are all the options that you can get with him.
Nice.
You can actually even turn Amrita into bars to like that's one thing you can unlock, I think, and you can then use that to like hold on to Amrita, although the cost is not going to be the same as the Amrita you put in, what you get out of it. But if you think you're dying a lot and you want to stock up on stuff and you're really worried, really worried, then yeah, that's what that's there for.
Nice.
And there we go. And soul matching does become very important later, so might as well get those discounts in that now. Also, getting requests done for him also tends to give you more lore with Muramasa.
Age is a cruel mistress, yep.
Yep, I'm gonna be in the game sitting with helicopters and shit, and I'm still 95,000 years old.
I really appreciate how hard he's trying to be Hank Hill in this moment. Like, it is now my headcanon that Muramasa is Japanese Hank Hill.
So Fuku is now going to send us off on one of those weird missions, but she gets the good weird missions. She gets little messages from Kadamas asking us to go find other Kadamas.
Adorable letter. Like, coming from Fuku, that is almost sinister. Like,
I don't know. Like, she's never given me cause to think there was anything sinister about her. She just always gives me cause to question her sense, because she's got like, you know,
that's
like
why. like, see, I don't doubt Fuku, which, you know, I mean, let's be real. That in and of itself is a very high compliment, right? I have an incredibly slow to trust sense for trusting people. I wanted a more articulate way to say that, but one didn't come. But yeah, no.
Probably doesn't help I'm waving a pick around.
I mean, it's a pretty awesome looking pick. You're about to go skull splitter on people with, you know, a actual skull splitter. That's basically an axe, by the way. Like, that's an axe motion. But yeah, no, I don't have any concerns about Fuku herself. I have every concern about the way she perceives things. When she says something is adorable, I'm like thinking, so are we talking Cthulhu saves the world adorable?
See, because when she says it, I just like to imagine this. She was just sitting there, and this little Kodama walks along like a little railing towards her, and then just like flops onto the table where she's sitting, and just like lays the letter down, and then wiggles off again. And she just like, it's a tiny little letter with like help written on it, and she just like, sort of just like giggles.
Yeah, and like she has absolutely no appreciation for the fact that a Kodama asking for help is generally means that the spirit is in a pretty bad way. It's just like, oh, that waddle was so adorable, totally missing the forest for the trees. The incredibly corrupted.
I'm sure she. Hey, look, she knows how important it is because she sent us to it. The man who finds Kodamas quite on the regular.
Fucking Christ. Just because you deploy the weirdo that does everything for people and overworks himself to death doesn't mean that you are any less of a you have any better perception for having done it.
It makes an interesting point though, because that does seem well into what everyone will like. The cutscene that we're all the sort of what we're talking about now takes place where William beats Ieyasu, takes place after doing this mission. But yeah, Ieyasu basically just asks the question, why do you do this? Like, why you put yourself through this? You're here for something, but that doesn't necessarily mean you gotta keep doing this, right? So what's the story? And William's like, you know what? I don't really have an answer to that.
Really good question.
He asks two really good questions. Yeah, he asks two really good questions of William, and like the first one is, do you think it's possible to obtain a world that is actually at peace? And William's like, well, I've never really actually ever tried to think about that. And the second one is just like, why do you fight the Oni? Like, you know, why do you put yourself through this stuff?
Because I don't know how to do anything else? Question mark.
This is me looking through going, hey, maybe I can get myself a cool axe build. Nope, sorry, I've used everything up on, like, literally everything else again. Sigh. Poor Axe. I feel so bad about Axe. I've given Axe the shaft.
I mean,
the mine shaft.
It wasn't you that gave Axe the shaft, alright? Like, it was the game that gave Axe the shaft when it created the Odachi. Yes! Break! Bonk. Donk!
Such a nice attack, too.
It really is.
Excuse me? Don't you pull out a hand cannon? What the fuck? That's rude. How dare you be rude? How dare you also do such small damage while still managing to attack through literally all of my attacks? I'm like, look at you! Look at you!
Oh my god.
What is wrong with you?
Jesus.
I just let him eat all his ki on me. Also, you're a jerk. Go away.
Stop.
Bringing people back from the dead, you damn noodly armed instrument man.
Deserve to rest for no other reason than it's an inconvenience to me.
That's the best reason to make someone rest. Inconveniencing me to the mines. People have been sent to forced labor in history for worse.
They actually have, but you know, I mean, I kind of liked the high-minded philosophical concept that boils back to shallow self-interest very quickly.
Alright, off you go, my little buddy.
Well, our actual Kodama is in another castle, or temple in this case.
Plenty to save, plenty of distance to go.
And miles to go before we sleep, and miles to go before we sleep. If we want to talk poetry.
We won't be having to put up. Oh, there's two of these guys. We won't be having to put up with William having an introspective moment for too long. He's going to very quickly make a decision, and it's going to actually be really cool how they do it. So that'll be the next major mission. which is like technically takes place straight after he meets Ieyasu.
But you know, we've been doing some work beyond that. I'll be interested to see that simply because historically, William, like the writings about him implied that he was very he sometimes took a little while to make up his mind, but when he did it, you know, he basically did it all at once, and after he made up his mind, get the fuck out of his way. You were not messing with him at that point.
Yeah, which I think honestly is like, you know, can be an appreciated trait amongst people. It's like, you know, he takes some time to think about it, and when he gets to it, good fucking luck stopping him. But he's taking the time to think about it, so it's all good.
It's interesting in that particular decision making process and personality type is ensconced into both Western Greek and Eastern Chinese zodiacs as like a stereotypical ox or a bull. That's supposed to be very stereotypical of Taurus in the Greek zodiac, and ox in Chinese zodiac.
You definitely want to get out of the way of an ox or a bull once they've decided they're going to barrel through.
Yeah, for what it's worth, I'm considered an ox in both of them. So there's that. That may or may not give you some insight.
Fits perfectly.
Yeah, kind of does.
I'm Virgo and dog, if anyone's wondering.
Yeah.
I don't know if that means anything.
I don't either, because
I don't really subscribe to like horoscopes much, except that they're kind of neat. I think they're
kind of
cool.
fun. That's all the more that I dated this one woman who put a lot of stock in them, so she had a lot of things to say about the consistency of mine, and I was just like, I don't know, that's kind of fun, it's kind of cool, but you really need to not fight him here.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, did I get myself killed here, or did I not? I can't remember.
I was sitting here thinking, yeah, he's gonna key pulse and get rid of the yokai pool. Yeah, he's gonna key pulse and get rid of the yokai pool. The yokai pool is still there. You know, you need to at least get the fuck away from it.
Never. I will never leave my stool.
Stoop kid afraid to leave stoop.
I turn to the Tenju and I say, no, you leave. Okay, I do.
Okay, good. I was gonna say you get double doggo back. Okay. Alright, Tengu. Chill out now.
It's alright, someone has to glitch into the terrain. I'd rather be him. I have had to, like, not while playing, like, recording. Thankfully not while recording for the Let's Play, but I have had to seppuku at least, like, once playing Nioh in order to, like, get myself out of terrain. The three gods mission, I got stuck in between a wall in the main shrine, and just it wouldn't let me out. The enemy couldn't hit me. I couldn't hit the enemy, so eventually I just had to sort of, you know,
dark side,
suck the sword down.
Yeah.
Couldn't even see the animation because.
It's a pretty good animation too. Like, you miss out if you can't see that. Like William gets into it. He goes out like a champion. Speaking of going out like a champion, that tree.
That tree was already dead. Like, its insides were on fire. Let's be honest.
Yeah, and it was like on fire, and like that's basically like jumping into a volcano, and then your corpse jumping out and continuing to smolder at all of the people who accompanied you to the crater. Like that tree went out like a champion. It just, you know, hung around.
Still more things down there.
While we until we came along to kick its corpse over.
And we've got to pursue an upwards path on this one, which is where the enemies being in a higher place and probably able to like kick boulders down at us will come into play. Because I think there's some boulders. There's definitely two of our big googly-eyed, long-tongued monk friends.
Gross.
Further up. Yeah. You can see a boulder up there. So let's just. You know.
You're gonna yes. I wasn't sure if that would work, and I'm so happy it does.
And he's still standing there like, what?
He's like, well, that was That was the highlight of my day.
That was my job you just stole. What the fuck? This keeps happening.
Took my job!
Spear skeleton. Yeah, the wide sweeps of the axis.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was. I was going to say it was lucky, but then I realized you probably had that planned, so I was going to amend to canny. So.
I think at some point people are probably begrudgingly going, okay, so he does actually know how to play the game a little, so like we can assume that he isn't just like blindly stumbling into success.
Realistically, at this point, so for those of you who aren't on the Something Awful forums, this game is kind of known as the Let's Player killer, simply because there have been two very well accomplished and very highly talented people who have attempted this game, only to have the game absolutely turn them inside out. Well before this point, so you know, I mean,
I think it was actually probably more like scheduling issues too, kicked up on them and things like that. Whereas I've recorded like 1 million episodes in advance with commentary on them, so even if like things get out of hand,
yeah.
like you would basically have to vanish for a year for us to be behind at this point.
And I do not intend to do that.
I would be very worried if you vanished for a year. I'd be very worried if you vanished for a week, but anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I tend to be very.
And I frequently
very
have been with how your health goes.
Yeah, well. Suffice it to say, I have made allotments in that case, and they haven't needed to be used yet.
Yeah, we haven't had to break open Robo Cool Guy yet. That artificial intelligence has not been taken out of its box yet.
Thank God. I mean, it's busted enough as it is. You start tampering with it, and God only knows what happened there.
Oh, I went into the menu and started trying to like do stuff, and it ended up taking a good 5 minutes.
So
let's just. It's just like, let's spare everyone that.
Yeah, I know. We discussed this in like the second episode, but like the menu vortex is real and strong.
This game just
very
sucks you
much
in
not your friend.
And menus you.
Oh man. I need to go to a freaking hospital. I've said this like every other episode, and it has always been true.
Yeah, and this particular one has hot springs you the fuck out as well.
I mean, it's just. I think in this particular level especially, there's a lot to be said for how rugged this level is, and then you find this hot spring, and it's so cozy, and it's like tucked away, and it's your own little world of respite against all of this nonsense that's going on. And
nature finds a way.
Yeah. I mean, it's something that I implicitly want to acknowledge the value of. Who the hell is throwing crap at you? And why do they want to?
There's a guy with a hand cannon up on a hill, basically.
Okay.
That is a move I did pick up, and yeah, I don't know. Like I thought that guy was right around the corner, but whatever. He got me closer to the chest quicker.
Sure.
But yes, I did pick up at least one move with the axe there, where you slam into the ground and then you pull it back up again. That's a move that you might actually recall from a lot of enemies in like Dark Souls games.
Wow!
Yes, he fell off.
That dude just had an incredibly bad day.
And he just gets right back to it.
I mean,
okay,
got to appreciate the man's chutzpah, if nothing else. Seriously!
I love that sound so much.
Just like you get hit in the head, and then you're just like dazed, and then you're just like, wait, that's a ledge. Oh God, I'm falling over it. Face plant.
I think we said a long time ago one of my favorite death sequences in any video game has always been like the old FPSs. When you'd shoot a dude and he'd just inexplicably fall off the ledge no matter what.
Frickin' Call of Duty 1 when you said that. That like
every time it happens, I'm filled with joy.
It's so good. It's so good.
Never gets old. I wish more games still did it, and Nioh does it. Nioh's been doing it since like pretty much the start.
Okay, I'll admit I jumped at that raven. I was just like, wait, God, what is that? I saw the feathers and thought there was a Tengu just off the left side.
Surprise friendship.
Like surprise head explosion.
I think I've mentioned it before, but you can bop crows and they will drop stones, and sometimes spirit stones. It's kind of weird.
God, I love that takedown. It is so brutal.
It is a very nice one. There are a lot of really good grapples and takedowns that we haven't actually gotten to see yet. The spear and the katana both get special ones. The katana one we won't see for a very long time, but the spear one is attainable eventually soon. We'll actually see somebody else use it on me in future episodes.
Jesus. Speaking
and there's
of brutal,
there are a few moves that like a lot of the different weapons can do, where if when you use that particular ability and if it expends the enemy's ki, then it will launch them.
Follow
and
up.
They are amazing every time to watch as well. But they're also like limited mostly to man-sized targets, so you know it's kind of like.
Speaking of Tengu.
At least this guy's not a spawned one.
I was gonna say, like
Lightning
living weapon
axe.
might be great with him in a contained area like this.
Yeah, just have to be careful because he can very easily bop you straight out of all of that living weapon you built up. So that's why I was trying to be cautious. And there we go. With that done, that's the last of the little things that we have to collect for this stage. And we have one more stage to do after this, and it's one that we've actually sort of been talking about historically for a little bit now.
Have we now?
Yeah, because we've been talking about the Imagawa. I keep forgetting their name. I've called them many things wrong many times, but they were the big clan before Oda Nobunaga slapped them on the booty and sent them off to the irrelevance dimension. They basically fell from grace and never recovered.
I remember fighting them multiple times in Shogun 2. Never a trivial undertaking.
No, they were big boys, and you had to give them a good slapping. We got a dance. We got a Kadama dance. We also got a Kadama bowl hat.
Frickin' Fuku over here just being like, oh, you found all of the cute things and now they're safe and sound. Just like ignoring all of the horrors that you had to go through to make that happen. Like this is I like Fuku. Again, I'm not trying to mess with her, but God bless, lady, you could just be so incredibly oblivious at times. You have a bowl on your head?
Yeah, that's the Kadama hat I said we got.
It owns.
We're doing that mission. And we're now at Okehazama, the battle site for where Oda Nobunaga kicked the absolute crap out of the Imagawa. And basically made everyone sit up and take notice that maybe he was going to be the big guy. We're using a nice old spear with earth damage on it.
Is this basically wave survival?
It's more like, you know, mini wave survival. It's the ones, you know, where every section has a bunch of enemies spawn when you defeat them.
Sweet.
Yeah.
These levels are so cool to watch.
Yeah, there'll be quite a few revenants in this one, so I'll switch between the Odachi and the spear just because I'm so sick of enemies that the revenants just block too often. It annoys the absolute shit out of me. I'm just like, I can't handle this.
Yeah. I gave you crap about not fighting revenants in like our second episode, and I honestly did not understand exactly how block happy they got. So I fired up the game recently, right before I got my new computer. Basically just because I was too lazy to install on my computer that day, and I just went on like a revenant killing spree, and yup, you weren't exaggerating. Those bastards just turtle up like the worst kind of boxer. Like every boxer that you know is completely overmatched, but just wants to stay at it, or MMA fighter that is overmatched but wants to stay in the ring long enough so they at least get a reputation as a survivor. So they just ball up, and it's the most boring fight on the planet. but you almost feel bad about hating on them for it because they're in the ring with somebody who's like, you know, either heavier or has a longer reach or is just is clearly they're not a good matchup for them in some fundamental way. But it's still just like you are just delaying this, man. Like, I have got a lot of other things to do today.
So the big thing about the Battle of Okehazama and why it was so fundamentally amazing is because the Imagawa were they were on a march to Kyoto on the way to the capital. So that was basically their way of saying we are now the eminent clan in charge. We're going to look after the shogun. Don't you guys worry. And they were doing it with about 25,000 men. And so they pushed into basically any province that was in their way, they were just going to take stuff on their way through, you know, keep their supply lines going, things like that. And so they went through with the Owari province, which is obviously is part of the Oda territory. And the Imagawa had like 25,000 dudes, and Oda managed about 2,000 to 3,000. And so when we talk about the fundamental amazingness of this nighttime raid that Oda was able to order, Oda Nobunaga was able to order, they managed to get, as I've said in previous videos, into the enemy camp, because obviously the Imagawa did not think that this was going to be a fight. They were pretty much expecting that Oda Nobunaga was just going to leave and go hold up somewhere else. In fact, even Oda Nobunaga's advisors were suggesting that, but he was just like, no, fuck that. He said only a strong offensive policy could make up for the superior numbers of the enemy. And that's where we ended up. Getting very close to dying then. And that's how we ended up with the nighttime raid that, again, was so effective. Imagawa Yoshimoto, the then head of the clan, had no idea that the enemy was even in his camp until he stepped out of his little caravan thing they carried him in to yell at his men for being too drunken and rowdy and loud, and realized that the people that were standing in front of him were actually not his soldiers. They were, and he apparently fought all right to start with. Like, he managed to sort of defend himself well enough, but no one was coming to help him, and it was 2-on-1, and in the end he was killed very quickly.
Yep, that you can be incredibly good, and still being 2-on-1 is quite an equalizer, as we've seen even in this very game. I mean, even those little spear skeletons were got a few good hits in on Robokai last mission just because of the fact that there was 2 of them.
And so this is I'm assuming the Revenant / Ghost of Yoshimoto. He's wearing the hat that Yoshimoto is often pictured wearing. It's a sort of a pseudo magistrate's hat, one of authority. So it's like this is basically him putting on the airs, which is absolutely no match for our cute little ball hat.
I mean,
so,
with our ball hat, we are ready to eat at any time. Like, that is some very powerful utility.
Invincible. We're literally invincible.
Oh! Denied a ki!
Yeah, using my strunky bullshit power. And yes, as I said before, Oda Nobunaga used the power of the Emerald Stones in order to pull this off in the Nioh setting.
Oh man, that was some powerful posturing right there, denying his ki.
Good up a dance.
I need to see some more of that dance. That was adorable.
And because of that, we now also get another referential gesture in which you pull out a fan and you wave it, which is also another thing Yoshimoto is often depicted with a large fan as well. he doesn't get a very good depiction in history for fucking up so hard.
I mean, it's pretty easy to forget everything somebody did and characterize them as a
You will never be like
bomb.
them, will you, William? She says, pulling out multiple knives and holding them to William's beard.
Yeah.
Until next time, I've been the last Robokai.
I have been Cool Guy.